Good evening, guys. So it was a beautiful day here in Normandale in Ontario, Canada, and I got out and did a ton of yard work. My yard work wasn't just raking and doing leaves, which a lot of that did happen. It wasn't just pulling weeds, which did happen. It also involved a few other things. And if you guys have been doing a lot of work, you may have used things like this today too, or within the last few weeks, or will be. And they are great. They do beautiful things to our yard, but they also activate muscles that don't necessarily get used on a regular basis. So they can create a lot more soreness, or just the fact that you're reaching and squeezing and pulling a lot. It can cause a lot of bumps and pain and discomfort with the muscles through our upper back and even through our chest and our arms. So I'm going to stretch it out today, so I figured I would just film it and do the work with you. First thing I did today when I came inside after doing all that work was a hot shower. If you have the access, a hot bath is even better. If you've got the Epsom salts, 100% better. A soak in the tub with Epsom salts will release a lot of the tension in your body and help soften and release some of those muscles so they don't lock up and tighten up quite so much, so you don't have quite as much pain tomorrow or the day after. One of the things I would suggest having close by hand is a strap of some sort. It can be a yoga strap if you have one. It can also be a belt, a tie, the tie from your robe, a long skinny piece of fabric, as long as it's strong enough that you can pull on it a little bit. And you can do this standing, sitting, or on a mat. If you're going to be on a mat, make sure you've got extra padding, a blanket, or padding extra room with a mat to fold it up, something like that, just to give you a little extra ease for your knees and your wrists. First things first, let's stretch out that chest. Reach your arms up overhead, stretch up, reaching high, and then as you exhale, reach your hands down and start to reach your arms out behind you, and then interlace your fingers. Keep your palms together when you do this. Keep your chin tucked down, and then just gently start to press your knuckles down towards the ground. And your chin is tucked. Imagine there's a little extra weight, almost as if somebody is gently pushing your shoulders down. Just gently reaching and pulling your shoulders down, giving them a little break. Holding for about 30 seconds, and then inhaling, gently releasing. This time you're going to press your knuckles a little bit behind your body. You can lift your knuckles up a little bit. It doesn't have to be a reach right back. Keeping your spine straight, making sure not to press your back too far forward and your chest forward. Just gently reaching back, squeezing your shoulder blades, and just opening your chest. Instead of the weight being down on your shoulders, imagine your chest opening up with this one. Just drawing your chest slightly back as you press your knuckles slightly towards the floor, but behind you a little bit more. Keeping your chin tucked in to keep your neck neutral. Holding for about 30 seconds. Gently relaxing through your shoulders, releasing your fingers. Sweeping your arms up overhead. Interlacing your fingers, flipping your palms up towards the ceiling, and reaching upwards. Now when you do this, try not to reach your elbows up near your shoulders and your ears and scrunch. Try to keep your shoulders somewhat down and just reaching them up and back. One of the nice things too, if you really want to get a really big stretch here, you can go right up onto your toes and just imagine your whole body lengthening. Holding for about 30 seconds, letting your arms come down along your sides, doing some really big shoulder rolls. Because we tend to sit like this a lot in the day, you don't need to roll your shoulders forward. Focus on rolling them back. Big, slow roll back shoulders. Do about 4 or 5 of these. And then just alternate. Let your shoulders start to roll out. When you do this, you might start to notice some of those back muscles that are a little stiff and sore today. Let them stretch and move out. Rolling each shoulder 5 to 10 times, then coming back. Just giving a little wiggle. Finding your strap. Sliding your arms just beyond shoulder width, keeping your elbows straight. Inhaling, reaching your arms up overhead. As you exhale, let your arms drop behind you. Keep your wrists locked in place. You don't want your wrists flinging around. Keep your wrists locked, that's it. And keep your ribs right where they are. Try not to let your back push out and your ribs push forward. Just keep your ribs right in. Your pelvis is tucked in, so everything through your torso is strong. You can keep your reach here, or if you've got the room, you can even keep letting your elbows drop down. Now, if you find you have any tension that runs down your arm towards your fingertips, widen your wrist grip, lifting up as you inhale, exhaling as you roll back forward. Adjusting your grip as you need. If you found that was discomforting, let your hands walk a little wider and come back up. Exhale, slowly dropping down, keeping your ribs and your pelvis stable. Inhale, back up. Give yourself a couple of those, 3 or 4 back and forth, and then just hold the strap up overhead and just pull down with your left hand, pull down with your right, down with your left, keeping your elbows straight, just gently flossing out your shoulders. Couple on each side, come back to center, bring your arms back down in front of you. You can set your strap off to the side. Now this next one are cat-cows, or essentially a spinal wave. So you can do them on your hands and knees, you can do them seated, or you can do them standing. Whatever works best for you. If you want to stay the position, if you want to change positions, if your body is sore and you don't want to crawl down onto the floor, you can do this in a chair or on standing. Exhaling, you're just going to let your spine curve forward and your shoulders come in. Inhale, you're going to start to roll your shoulders up, press your pelvis forward, shine your chest up. Exhale, rolling everything forward. Inhale, coming up. Now you can continue to just do this movement, or you can start to make it a wave. You can come up and just start to roll your hips and your shoulders. You can just start to roll your spine. Inhaling when your chest lifts, exhale when you curve back under. Releasing some of the tension you brought into your spine today, just gently working it out. One more of these, and come back to your center. Give yourself a little wiggle, and just let your hips swing back and forth. And let your shoulders start to move with them. And just start to kind of find yourself almost dancing. You're just finding the spinal wave in a different direction. Couple on each side. Come back to center. This one, if you are seated, make sure you sit yourself back a little bit on this chair. If you're sitting on the floor, just straighten your legs straight out in front of you. You can take a gentle bend into the knee. If you are standing, you're going to walk your feet just a little bit beyond hip width. Place your hands on your hips and start to press your hips backward. Keep your spine as straight as you can. And if you have any bits of high blood pressure or medication for it, stay right at that halfway point. You can let your hands rest on your hips or on your thighs. Keep your chin tucked into your chest and just breathe right here. If blood pressure is not an issue, you can start to walk your hands down, keeping your spine as straight as you can. Let your chin tuck down and just find that space of stretch, keeping your hips slightly sitting back to find a stretch through your legs. And then when you find your space and you've got your hips sitting back, let yourself roll forward on your toes just a little bit. You'll notice that it stretches out the back of your legs a little bit more and up through your ankles. You can let your fingertips rest on the floor and just imagine pushing your hips up towards the ceiling and straightening out your spine. Breathing into it. You don't have to stay in the same spot. You can lift up if you needed. You can let yourself drop a little bit more if needed. Finding whatever works best for you. Holding for about 10 to 15 seconds. Slowly starting to walk your hands back up. Squeezing your buttocks as you bring yourself all the way that little bit. Stabilizing out your hips and your pelvis. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle. And bring your hands up. Right in line with your shoulders. And take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, just start to twist your ribs right around your spine. Your hips stay right where they are. Your pelvis is holding you stable. Inhaling, coming all the way back. Exhale, twisting over to your other side. Again, just moving your ribs right around your spine. Inhaling back. And just doing a couple on each side. Inhaling to center. Exhaling off to each side. One more over the last side. Come back to center. Let your arms drop around your side. Your right arm's going to reach straight up towards the ceiling. Your left hand's going to rest on your hip. As you exhale, you're just going to start to lean towards the left. Reach your right fingers and let your left hand just slide down your leg. Making sure not to lean forward when you're doing this one. And just try to keep yourself as straight as possible here. You're going to use your right hand as you inhale to pull yourself all the way back up. Let your right hand rest down on your right thigh. Left arm lifts up. Exhaling over to the right. Holding for 5 to 10 seconds. Using your left hand to pull yourself all the way back up. Give your shoulders a little roll, take a little wiggle. You always have options after this. You can do any other stretches you want. I would recommend, if you can get down on the floor, a child's pose, which is just getting onto your hands and knees and then letting your hips sit right back down onto your heels, shoelace side of your foot down to the mat, letting your forehead come all the way down to the mat, whether it's resting on a pillow, a block, or your hands, or lying down on your back and just hugging your knees right into your chest, giving a good squeeze into your body. I hope you feel great tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed your day. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely evening.